Garfield is acting as the anti-evidence. Some investigators engaged in conversation. This on the ground, but just keep shooting, okay? Don't move. Our Leticia Juarez is on the other side of this location on Garfield is acting as the anti-evidence. Some investigators engaged in conversation. This on the ground, but just keep shooting, okay? Don't move. Our Leticia Juarez is on the other side of this location on Garfield is acting as the anti-evidence. Some investigators engaged in conversation.
Okay, last mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Everybody else good? Okay. All right.
Is anybody in need of a sound check? Are you all good? Everybody's good sound-wise? 2, 2. You're good sound-wise? All right. Two, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You know what? 2, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 1.
My check, my check, my check, my check, my check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. My check, 1, 2, 3.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. Good.
We haven't heard anything.
The first half, I couldn't get up. It was like I kept falling down, and I was able to get up and I was just getting the legs to walk.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorena Rodriguez. I'm captain at Sheriff's Information Bureau. Sheriff Luna and officials will provide an update on yesterday's incident. The order of speakers will be Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Robert Luna, Congressmember Judy Chu, Senator Susan Rubio, Assemblymember Mike Fong, Monterey Park Mayor Henry Lowe, and in closing, Monterey Park Police Department Chief Scott Weiss. Thank you.
Well, good evening to everybody, and thank you all for being here and hanging in with us today. It's been a very challenging day. So let me give you what I believe will be the last update of the day, and then after the speakers, I'll come back up here to answer any questions that you may have. Earlier today, the Sheriff's Homicide investigators, working alongside all of our law enforcement partners, were able to confirm the identity of the male inside the white cargo van as the suspect in the mass shooting that we had in Monterey Park. Based on the previous information relayed by homicide investigators regarding the white van involved and seen leaving the scene of the incident in the city of Alhambra, the Torrance Police Department was notified, and at 10:20 a.m., the Torrance police officers located the white van matching the description near the area of Sepulveda Boulevard and Hawthorne Boulevard. As Torrance officers pulled behind the vehicle, the white van entered a shopping center parking lot. When officers exited their patrol vehicle to contact the occupant, they heard one gunshot coming from within the van. Officers retreated and requested several tactical teams to respond. 2 armored vehicles responded and were able to restrict the van's movement. At 12:52 p.m., our sheriff's SWAT team approached and cleared the van and determined the suspect sustained a self-inflicted gunshot wound and was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators conducted a search of the vehicle and determined the male inside the van was the mass shooting suspect. During the search, several pieces of evidence were found inside the van linking the suspect to both locations in Monterey Park and Alhambra. In addition, a handgun was discovered inside the van. The suspect has been identified as Can Tran, and the way that's spelled is H-U-U, middle name C-A-N, last name T-R-A-N. He is a 72-year-old male Asian. I can confirm that there are no outstanding suspects from the mass shooting incident that occurred in the city of Monterey Park. And although that closes a portion of a very long day for all of us, the investigation is still ongoing. Sheriff's homicide detectives are working around the clock, gathering additional information and working on determining the motive behind this extremely tragic event. I would like to thank Chief Weiss and the Monterey Park Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, the United States Department of Justice, the Torrance Police Department, the District Attorney's Office, Supervisor Hilda Solis, who has been here with us for the previous pressers, and the surrounding South Bay law enforcement agencies. Initially, we're giving thanks to the Monterey Park Fire Department for their life-saving measures. I was informed before coming out here, we still have 7 victims who are hospitalized. And I'm sure that the work of our firefighters and police officers contributed to saving at least those lives. As I stand up here, I'm very proud, really, of all of us, the community, all of you in the media. I could say we did this together. We really did. And when there's tragedy, we have to lean on each other, and that's what we did. But before I walk off and turn it over to the next speaker, when I got here and I saw, and I told you this morning, the look in the eyes of the homicide investigators and all of their staff, you could just tell they were going to get this guy. And although I couldn't talk in detail about that earlier today, I'm very proud of Captain Andy Meyer and the whole entire Homicide Bureau, who not only got us to this point, but there's a lot of work and investigation to be done. And just real quick before I turn it over to the next speaker, you've been asking me about motive. We still are not clear on the motive. The investigation continues, and that is something we are all extremely, we want to know. We want to know how something like this, something this awful can happen. Also, in regards to the weapons, there was a handgun, as I described, that was discovered in the van with the suspect. The weapon that was recovered from the Alhambra location, in which, remember, the suspect went to the Alhambra location after he conducted the shooting, and he was disarmed by two community members who I consider to be heroes because they saved lives. This could have been much worse. The weapon that we recovered at that second scene, I'm describing as a magazine-fed semi-automatic assault pistol. Not an assault rifle, but an assault pistol that had an extended large capacity magazine attached to it. That's the pistol that was recovered at the location in Alhambra. So with that, I'll come back up for questions after the rest of our partners behind me speak. So I'll turn that now over to the next speaker. Thank you.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I represent Monterey Park. I want to give my enormous thanks and gratitude to law enforcement for finding this shooter. All this afternoon, the community was in fear, thinking that they should not go to any events because there was an active shooter. But law enforcement came out and they were able to find the shooter with not even 24 hours passing. So I really have to thank LA County Sheriffs, and thank you so much, Sheriff Luna. Sheriff Luna, please, a big round of applause. I want to thank our Monterey Park Police Department and Police Chief Scott Weiss for keeping us safe in this community. I want to thank the Torrance Police Department for identifying the suspect and ultimately making sure that he was caught. And I want to thank all who've come together today, from the national level to the local level. Our local city council, which has been amazing, but also I got calls today from the White House, from the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, and from our Mayor, Karen Bass. All expressed concerns and offered their resources to us to make sure that we could end this terrible situation. I still have questions in my mind, which is, what was the motive for this shooter? Did he have a mental illness? Was he a domestic violence abuser? How did he get these guns? And was it through legal means or not? Well, those questions will have to be answered in the future. But what I want to do here is to say to the community, feel safe. You are no longer in danger because this shooter is gone. And so, I told you this morning, I've lived in this city for 37 years, and I was mayor and city council member at one time. And I said that this community is resilient. And what I saw today and what I see at this moment is indeed we are resilient and we are stronger together.
Hello, I'm State Senator Susan Rubio. I represent the city of Monterey Park. And I want to start by offering condolences to all the families that are today destroyed and trying to find a way to keep moving forward with such a loss. I want to also commend those two individuals that tackled the gun away from the second incident, because we would be standing here with a lot more tragedy. So I want to thank those two individuals, and we hope to honor them at some point in the near future. But I also want to commend our public safety, from our local police to our Sheriff Luna and everyone that did what needed to be done to ensure that we bring safety back into our community. So as you heard Congresswoman express, we want to make sure that our community knows it's still a safe community. So thank you to all those that were working really diligently to ensure that we capture the individual responsible for these senseless acts of violence. And we need to continue to condemn any type of violence. It has no place in our communities. I want to also praise first responders for their quick action and those at our local hospital taking care of the victims. So please, I ask all of you also to take a moment to think of the teachers. I was a teacher for 17 years, and I was in the classroom many times where I had to be the one offering condolences and comfort to those children that were coming into my classrooms. And it was my job to answer questions when they were confused and they needed answers. So to all those that have children in the schools, say thank you to your teachers, because we're going to have to deal with this tragedy. It's not over. Even though we know that it's a safe community, we cannot change the heart and mind of those kids that right now are feeling uneasy, scared, unsure. So please support our local teachers. They have a tough job ahead of them. And to our local city council, our Mayor Henry Lowe and the rest of the council, they've been tremendously proactive in trying to ensure that our community feels safe, that this city has what it needs in terms of resources for the trauma of all the families that are now left behind dealing with such devastation. And so to all the community that was here earlier, praying for all the victims and for the leaders, thank you to the coalition of clergy who came earlier today. We want to say thank you for your comfort, for your prayers, and let's continue to pray. We're here to support. And one last thing I want to share, that early on, the Governor Newsom called. Every single member of the legislature called, and each one of them offered their support. And so I want to thank all my colleagues, the Governor, Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounakis, and everyone who called and offered prayers and support. And we will put all the resources necessary to make sure that our community knows that they're going to be taken care of. Thank you.
Good evening. I am Assemblymember Mike Fong, representing the 49th Assembly District. Thank you so much to Sheriff Luna, Chief Weiss, and all the local law enforcement and state and federal partners for their leadership and efforts in finding the shooter. During a time of celebration, during the annual Lunar New Year, when families gather together, we know that our community has faced a tragic incident. So shocking, sad, and horrible. For those seeking assistance and trauma relief, please visit the Langley Center here in the city of Monterey Park. Thank you to Mayor Lowe and the Monterey Park City Council for their leadership and efforts. And thank you to the Governor and the Office of Emergency Services for their leadership and efforts in coordinating emergency response and for enhancing security here in Monterey Park and the San Gabriel Valley communities. This has been a very challenging time, As you heard from our Congresswoman, our Senator, Monterey Park is strong, Monterey Park is resilient, and together we will get through these challenging times together. At this time, I'd like to introduce Monterey Park Mayor Henry Lowe.
Thank you very much, Assembly Member. I want to thank Sheriff Luna and your department for helping us seek justice today in this tragedy that has occurred. I want to thank our own Monterey Park Police Department, many of whom their officers have been on duty for over 24 hours. Thank you, Chief Weiss, for all the personnel at your police department for your dedication in making sure that justice was brought forward. I want to thank our Fire Chief Matt Halleck and the personnel of the fire department who rushed to provide aid to those who had fallen. Working alongside our local, state, and federal partners to investigate this horrific event, we are able to say that justice has been done thanks to everyone working together. But we also know that this is just the beginning, and an unimaginable tragedy has occurred here in Monterey Park during a weekend in which we're celebrating the Lunar New Year, and a time when people come together to spend time with families, with friends, and that was the purpose of those who gathered at the dance hall last night. But tragically, someone decided to express violence, and violence has no place in our society. And so at this moment, the community, moving forward, our priority is to make sure that those victims, their family members, are given the assistance they need to heal and to get over this trauma. And as a community, is also the moment in which we will need to move forward in the long process of healing as a community so that we can together overcome this tragedy. But I have faith that we will be able to, because as you've heard from the comments, and again I thank everyone from Chief Luna to our Congresswoman Judy Chu, our State Senator Susan Rubio, our Assembly Member Mike Fong, Supervisor Jose Solis, everyone from the federal government, the state government, the county, our friends in neighboring cities, the region, for coming together to offer condolences, to offer their support. And we will get over this. To my friends, to our residents of Monterey Park, ours is a community that has looked in the face of the COVID pandemic. During the last years of the pandemic, we had some of the highest rates of vaccination and some of the lowest rates of infection, and it's because we came together to help each other to overcome this crisis. We had our Veterans Post create a food bank. We had people who offered assistance to those who are in need, and that really is the Monterey Park spirit, the people who make up this great city, a city that is diverse, that has welcomed waves of people, families from around the world, around this country, to call this place home, and is why many people love to live here in Monterey Park. And I have confidence that we will get over this crisis, because we must. And we will only do so if we do it together as a community, because remember, we are all in this together. And again, I just have to reiterate just the admiration we have for our own police department and fire department, who reacted quickly to this crisis and immediately activated its procedures to also tap into the resources, the partnerships that were needed to essentially be able to bring us to this moment. And my friends, we do have a long road ahead of us, but I hope that all of you who are here gathered today, those in the press, those in the community, those who have been offering their support as individuals, as organizations, about how we can help Monterey Park. The journey is just beginning, and we hope that we will continue to be on this road together to heal and to ultimately triumph over evil and adversity. Thank you very much. And now, Scott Weiss, our
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Tonight's the Lunar New Year, and
We would be celebrating that tonight, but obviously we can't. The officers that were here last night are just coming back on duty right now. They're upstairs at briefing. When I get done talking to you here, I'll go back upstairs and make sure that my officers are mindful of what took place and that they're in a good place tonight, because their wellness means a lot to me, and the only way that they're going to protect this community is if they're mentally prepared to do so. So that's where I'll be going after this. I want to thank Sheriff Luna and the partnerships with the Sheriff's Department and all of our federal, state, and local partners. We couldn't have done this without their help. I want to thank the Torrance Police Department for being so vigilant to spot this vehicle. Thank you very much. We have a long way to go to heal this community. The police department here in Monterey Park will be present every moment of the day from this point on to make sure this community remains safe. That's our commitment to everybody here, and we will continue to do that into the future. I'd like to open it up for any questions.
When we got to the van, it did have different plates. So I'm assuming they were stolen. They weren't the plates that belong on the van.
And did Torrance, did they get a hit off of it? Was it a camera hit that hit on that stolen plate?
It was something similar to that. And that's, again, part of our partnerships with all of our agencies and some of the process we use to catch a very dangerous person and get them off the streets.
Sheriff, you talked earlier about that you don't have a motive right now. I wanted to ask you something that could play a role in that. Is there any indication that the suspect, who's now dead, knew any of the victims or knew people at either of these two locations?
We're still looking into that. That's part of what the homicide detectives are investigating. Please keep in mind that, especially with the deceased victims, the coroner's office retrieved the remains not that long ago, so they're still in the process of identifying. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done to answer a lot of questions that all of us have.
Is there any indication of...
Sheriff, we've heard a lot about the police work today. What can you tell us about the 10 victims? 20 people have been shot, 10 people are now dead. Congressman Chu stood there and asked people to report your effort earlier. Today we've had the Vice President say that this type of violence needs to stop. As a community leader, what do you say about that? How, in this country, can gun violence stop?
Gun violence needs to stop. There's too much of it. We're all standing here tonight because an individual took a weapon and did the damage that we've talked about without repeating it. I think all of us need to take some ownership there. I think we really need to go back and look at what we do. California has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, but yet look what we just had today. So let's look at across our nation, see what works and what doesn't. But I could tell you this, the status quo is not working. So we need to re-examine what we're doing and what may work better. And I hope that this tragedy doesn't just go on a long list of many others that we don't even talk about until the next one comes up.
What can you tell us about the victims' ages, relationships? Were they parents? Were they mothers, fathers? Who were these?
We're still in the process of identifying all the victims. We will have that information as the days go on.
Have you contacted next of kin yet, sir?
Okay. I heard something on my right ear that sounded like the ages of the victims. The ages of the victims that we dealt with here in Monterey Park, I don't have the specific ages because they have not been identified, but they're not in their 20s or 30s. They seem to be probably, I would say, in their 50s, 60s, and maybe some even beyond there. So, and again, give me a second. Anyways, yes, ma'am?
Have the next of kin for the victims been contacted yet, sir?
We're still in the process of doing that.
And you
That's something we're still looking at. We're looking at all criminal history, mental health history, and those are all things the detectives will take a very hard, long look at and see if it impacted what occurred here, the motive, and that's part of the learning lessons and sharing them with our partners and seeing if there's any gaps that were there that we may have missed.
You said you survived one shot heard, but there were 2 bullet holes pictured in the window. Did officers return fire?
To my knowledge, there was no officer or deputy involved shooting at the scene.
Sheriff, was there anything else in the van itself that you found beyond the handgun, like any ammunition, anything like that? And do you know what the city of residence is, this suspect?
Yes to all the above, but it's none of those I can get into at this point. We have detectives all over the region continuously working very hard to answer a lot of the very good questions you're asking regarding motive and all these other things. And the timing isn't right for me to put that out. We will, but give us several more hours. We're taking this one step at a time. I didn't hear the first part of that, but the suspect responsible for this tragedy is no longer with us. That was the person that is deceased now, and you're asking me if we feel we're safe. He's the one responsible for this. He is no longer a threat. Give me a second. I'm getting multiple questions at the same time. I hear something about guns.
One gun was seized and one found in the van. Was there a multiple gun was suspect was carrying?
We don't know yet.
Were people at the second location tipped off by the first location?
Led you to contact Torrance Police specifically that he would be in their area. Was there a nexus between what happened here, what you knew about, you thought your suspect, and Torrance?
Does he have a connection to Torrance, sir?
This morning, when I talked about the information we had, we put out as much information as we possibly can while there was a lot of very good investigative and detective work going on. Something we don't talk about much in Southern California is our extraordinary ability to communicate and coordinate with each other. Not only the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, you see the partnership here between ourselves, the Monterey Park Police Department, my partner at the Torrance Police Department. We put this information out. We're very good with our networks, and it showed how it worked. You communicate this, officers are out on the lookout. They want to, I don't care if you work in Torrance, Long Beach, Monterey Park, you name the city, something like this happens, there's everybody who wears a badge wants that person in custody, and I think that's what you see happening today. It's teamwork that's going on out there.
Sheriff, be specific about this individual in Torrance. They just followed up on the bulletin that went out.
There's going to be more information that we'll be putting out about the specifics, but right now I'm here to report that the suspect responsible for this tragedy is no longer a threat.
The second location, were they tipped off at all by the people at the first location?
Some sort of planning involved, that this was a stolen van? From what witnesses said, did he say anything when he went into the first club, or he just opened fire, and how did it go down?
We're still interviewing witnesses. We're interviewing witnesses at the Monterey Park location. We're interviewing witnesses at the Alhambra location, and all of it will come together when, I'm going to use, it sounds weird for me to say some of this makes sense, putting it all together and trying to figure it all out. We're still in the process of doing all that. It's going to take some days.
Sheriff, were people at the second location tipped off by the first location?
Give me a second. Let me give somebody else a chance over here.
You said you used an extended magazine in a magazine-fed semi-automatic pistol. Can you clarify what type of pistol that is, generally speaking? And are the weapons you found legally obtainable in California under current law?
I believe the weapon that was recovered at the Alhambra location is not legal to have here in the state of California. We'll do more research on it. Our partners at the ATF, and by the way, I was mentioning different police departments. We can't be as successful as we are without the FBI's been with us all day. The ATF joined in. The U.S. Marshals has been helping us. I get a personal call from the Attorney General earlier saying, what can we do to help you? I've been in communication with the governor, who you may see out here in the very near future. Everybody just, what can we do to help? So everybody was pitching in.
Sheriff, that second location where the gun was wrestled away from the suspect that you described, at all what happened? You said there were 2 people that did that.
I can tell you that the suspect walked in there probably with the intent to kill more people, and 2 brave community members decided they were going to jump into action and disarm him. They did so, took possession of the weapon, and the suspect ran away.
Were they tipped off? That's an important follow-up, Sheriff. Were they tipped off about the incident at the first location?
You're asking that second part of the question over here.
We heard that they might have been tipped off that the shooting happened, that somebody might be coming to their dance studio. Have you heard anything, or can you say?
I have not heard that, but that's possible.
Can you relay for us what your deputy said it looked like when they went into the first venue in Monterey Park? Can they tell you what they found?
Our deputies, actually the brave police officers from the Monterey Park Police Department are the first responders to the initial scene. I don't know if the chief has more information on that that he can ask about or answer, I should say.
Yes.
What did the officers relay to you? What the scene was like when you first made it?
The first officers on scene were some of my youngest officers. They'd only been on the street for a very short period of time. When they came into the parking lot, it was chaos. There were wounded people. There were people trying to flee out all the doors. They immediately went into action, and within just a couple minutes, those officers had entered the location looking for the suspect. That's our protocols here. We don't wait. Inside, they came across a scene that none of them had been prepared for. So there were injured people inside, there were dead people inside, and my young officers did their job, searched for a suspect, and then came back and had to deal with the carnage that was inside. And it was extensive. That's one of the reasons I need to make sure that they're okay.
How long did it take them to arrive on scene?
Between the time of call and the first officer on scene was less than 3 minutes.
How long have they been officers?
The youngest ones have only been out on their own in training for the last several months.
Okay, hold on. I got a gentleman up here asking questions. Someone's talking over him. Can you repeat that, please? We will, but not tonight. We'll get there. We'll get there. All excellent questions, and we will get there. So, not tonight, because we're still in the process of following up, serving search warrants. We want to get to the motive. We want to know what the heck happened here. The only way we're going to get there is through a lot of very hard detective work, and we plan on doing just that. So thank you very much. Thank you for all of your support today. Couldn't have done this without you. Thank you very much.
这是抱着中天 Keep Going 健身包的单身广 正常发挥 style。提着中天 Keep Going 健身包小露相间，这是张若昀鱼宝 style。斜肩背中天 Keep Going 健身包，这是刘盈秀秀秀 style。帽 T 加中天 Keep Going 健身包，这是林立错别字赖正凯 style。中天文创品牌 Keep Going 系列运动副携带健身包，帅气黑、太空银共2款，即刻入手，请上快点购，有您的支持，中天 Keep Going。